Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Today I want to talk about something that comes up a lot, which is, can I use FortiGate SD-WAN and IPsec VPNs with Starlink? And the answer is yes, you can. With Starlink VPN, there's a couple of caveats that we're going to address. Without further ado, let's just dive right in. What you see before me is the portal for FortiGate Cloud. Since my 61F is remote, that is connected directly through a Starlink satellite dish that I have set up. So the only way for me to access it as of right now is by using the FortiGate Cloud portal. As you can see here, it really looks a lot like the standard FortiGate interface. And then on this other tab I have here, you'll see that I have a 91G, which is my lab firewall, and we're going to set up a VPN tunnel between the two. So let's go ahead. We can see the 61F is online. I'm going to go into the dashboard here. Actually, first I'm going to go and review all devices. I'm going to go ahead and select this 61F, which is the one behind my Starlink. Starlink was pretty easy to set up. I surprisingly got really good throughput on it. I was getting about 200 megabits a second down, about 30 up, and about 20 to 25 millisecond response time when doing fast.com or speakeasy.net speed test. So really impressive throughput and latency is what I'm most impressed by, making this a really great suitable option for using this as a backup link, or even at that point a primary. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set up a VPN. So what we'll do is on our main firewall here, we're going to go into VPN. We'll go down to VPN Wizard. And you're going to see just how easy it is to make one. So we're going to create a tunnel name. This can be anything you want. I'm going to call this Starlink VPN. Go ahead and begin. And we'll use a pre-shared key here. We're going to leave IKE v2. We'll leave the transport to auto. We're really going to leave all the defaults. So NAT traversal. So we talked a little bit about Starlink, and NAT traversal, or NAT-T as you may know it, is the ability for your VPN to communicate using, instead of protocol ESP, you can use a UDP protocol, UDP 4500. This is what you're going to need in order for your IPsec tunnel to be able to traverse Starlink's CG-NAT. They're not going to allow that ESP protocol through, and you're doing double NATing, so NAT traversal being enabled is key in order for this to work. We enable it by default, but it's definitely important that you make sure it's enabled on both ends of that tunnel. So we'll go ahead and we'll hit next here. The remote device type is going to be a FortiGate. The remote site device is going to be behind NAT. And then now we're going to put in the remote site subnets that can access the VPN. And that's going to be our network on the remote side, what devices from that network can access this local ones. So we're going to go, so we already know what that is. We'll hit next. And now we're going to provide the outgoing interface that binds to this tunnel. For me, that's going to be my WAN 2. We'll leave this checked, which will create and add the interface to a zone, and then we'll create a local interface here. Well, we'll link our local interface to it, which is going to be our LAN interface. And then we're not going to do this allow remote site internet through this device. We'll just leave that alone. So we'll go ahead and hit next. You can see here it's already got a bunch of stuff pre-configured for me. It's going to make the address groups. It's going to make the address objects. The VPN Wizard is really handy to build out everything for you. So if we want to modify this, we can. We can modify a few things. But other than that, we're really going to leave the defaults alone. And we'll just hit submit. And just like that, our tunnel is successfully configured on the hub side. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into FortiGate Cloud. And let's go ahead and we will go into VPN. Both of these firewalls are on 7.6.3. We'll go into the VPN Wizard, and we're going to call it the same thing. Starlink VPN. We'll call this one remote. Oh, I guess I have to. BR for branch. There we go. This is going to be a site-to-site VPN. We're going to set it up the exact same way. We'll go ahead and begin. We'll put in our same pre-shared key. We'll leave the defaults, version 2, auto, and enabled. Hit next. And then The remote site device is not behind NAT. We'll put in the FQDN of our lab. And Fortinet has a service called Dynamic DNS, which allows your FortiGate to communicate to FortiGuard labs and register the IP address of your device to a specific subdomain. Even if your device is on a dynamic public IP address, it's going to continually register that IP address to FortiGuard, and you can use a specific domain name for your dynamic IP address. And that's what we're going to do right now. So mine is irvinelab.fortiddns.com, and you can see it already resolved the IP address. So what we'll do is we'll do remote site subnets that can access VPN, and we know that our remote network, this one's going to be my local network, is 2.0/24. We'll go ahead and we'll hit next, and we're going to bind our WAN 1 interface, which is where the Starlink satellite dish is connected to. Our local interface is going to be internal LAN. We'll go ahead and hit next. We already know it's going to create all of these address groups, objects, and interfaces and policy routes for us. So we'll go ahead and hit submit. And the tunnel was successfully configured. And just like that, with a simple refresh, we can see that the tunnel is in fact already up. Let's do one more refresh just to make sure we're not crazy. And we can see here that tunnel is up. Command prompt here, and if I run an ipconfig, I can see that my IP address is 2.14. I'm behind the hub firewall, and I'm going to try and ping 6.1, which is the LAN side of my remote firewall on the Starlink side. So let's clear that space, and let's try and ping it right now, see if that works. And look at that. You can see the response time here is clearly going across VPN. If I do a -T, we can see the response time is 280, 360, which isn't bad considering that we are going from the ground, IPsec encrypted tunnel, over to Starlink, from a satellite dish, down to my other side and back. That is impressive latency, all things considered. And that's it. That's how easy it is to get up and running with Starlink. It doesn't have to be difficult. It works. And by using, if you need to, we can use FortiGuard's Dynamic DNS, which is part of your FortiGate subscription anyway, to continually have a static domain name for your dynamically changing IPs if you need that functionality. The one thing, what we can do, is since we use the defaults here, let's go into the VPN tunnel and let's just see what we're running here. You see the default is going to use quite a few different encryption options. So I want this to be secure, but still manage some overhead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove out some of these encryption algorithms just to keep things more in line with what I want it to be. So we'll just keep it as AES 256 and SHA 256. We'll leave the Diffie-Hellman groups, that's fine, and then we'll modify the phase 2 selectors as well, and you'll see the same thing. So we'll get rid of these other authentication here. We'll use AES 256 and SHA 256 on both ends, same Diffie-Hellman group, and we'll hit OK, and we'll hit OK. And you are going to see that tunnel is going to go down because the other side now doesn't match. So while we're waiting for that, I'm going to hop over here. I'm going to do the same exact thing. Let's clean up some of these other algorithms we're not going to use. And we'll modify the phase 2. Same thing. OK, and hit OK. And our VPN should come back up immediately. There it is. We saw it went down for a second while it was reestablishing, and now it is back up. Let's go ahead and try and ping. .1. And look at that. There we go. We are up and running on Starlink. So if you have any questions for me, love to leave a comment. I will get back to you. And stay tuned for the next video. Thanks.